Hi, I'm Peter Reinhardt, and I'm here at the demonstration kitchens of Johnson & Wales University in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're going to make calzone. And calzone is a variation of pizza. It's a pizza dough to begin with, and we're going to fill it, and instead of baking it flat, we're going to fold it over. We've got a piece of dough here. This is about 8 ounces of dough, but really you could use any size dough that you want. Make sure you have enough flour on the counter and on the dough to keep it from sticking. We start to roll from the center to the corners. Now, you can also just pat this dough out with your fingers. It doesn't have to be paper thin, but if it's too thick, then the calzone becomes too bready. So I like to roll it out to about 1/8 of an inch, maybe between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. And again, going to the corners, and we're going to create, you can do this either in a rectangular form or you can just lift it and it will form its own little oval or circle, and that's more classic for the calzone. So here's a good piece of dough for our calzone, and now we just fill it. We've got some cheese here, some ricotta cheese, along with some mozzarella. You could use any good melting cheese. Kind of stir that together, and into that we're going to add some sauce. And I've got some nice pizza sauce here. We'll just put about 1/4 of a cup or a few good dollops of sauce, and it's up to you. You could also use chopped tomatoes or any other vegetables that you like. We're going to fill the calzone, and what we're going to do is put it kind of towards the center. And it looks like a lot of ingredients, but the cheese will melt down. You want to make sure that you have enough filling, and you can add some roasted or sauteed vegetables so that when you cut into it, it doesn't seem like a tease with a lot of dough and a little bit of filling, but plenty of cheese and filling. In this case, we've got also some salami. You could use other kinds of meats. So we'll go ahead and put that in. Since we have the salami, we'll put that in to give it that flavor. You could use pepperoni even. And a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese, just again to add a little bit of saltiness. And that's all we really need for this one. I could have added olives or onions or anything else, but the idea now is to fold the top over and crimp the edges. And if you have too much dough kind of at the end, you can tuck it under a little bit and crimp it so that you've got a nice snug little pillow here. In this case, the dough is sticking very nicely as we crimp, but if the dough is having problems sticking, if it dries out a little bit, you can take a pastry brush and brush a little water along the edge or even some egg wash, and that will allow it to hold tight. So after the dough is crimped tight so that the filling doesn't come out, transfer it to a sheet pan, and I always like to have parchment or silpat down so that I'm not baking directly on the metal. And this is optional, but I think it gives a nice finish to the dough, is to brush some olive oil on the top surface. This will shine it up a little bit. Some people like the more rustic look without the olive oil. And with a sharp little knife, it can be a steak knife, or in this case I'm using a baker's docking knife. Put a little vent hole or two so that we don't get an air pocket. And this is ready to bake. Okay, so we just take this to the oven and put it in on the sheet pan. Now, if you have a baking stone or a pizza stone, it's okay to slide it in just like a pizza. But in this case, the pan gives us a little bit of protection in case anything oozes out. And we'll let it bake until it's done, about 10 to 12 minutes. I think our calzone is about ready, so let's take it out. Oh yeah, we've got a nice caramelized crust, a little golden brown happening here. You can see that some of the cheese is trying to ooze out like a little volcano. And we'll let it sit and cool, and we'll cut it in a few minutes.